Hello there, Gemini. Thank you so much for stopping by for your weekly tarot video forecast. This forecast is for the week of March the 21st through the 27th. We'll be starting with Saturday and working our way through the week so that we have the weekend together. I am going to be pulling one card for each day so that we have highlights of what's going on each day as we walk through the week. And of course, this is a collective reading, which means not everything I say will apply to every single person who watches it. If you would like to have a reading that focuses strictly on your energies and your energies only, then all you have to do is reach out to me to book that. All my contact information is listed at the website in the top of this screen. All right, so your cards are down. Let's take a peek at the weekend first. We're starting off with the Five of Swords on Saturday, followed by the Knight of Wands on Sunday. So, very interesting. So, Saturday talks about some kind of argument or debate, maybe even fight, but something that's going on where you're clashing with somebody else on Saturday. It's interesting because Sunday we have some much better energy showing up with this Knight of Wands. This talks about that you are taking some action towards something that you're feeling really enthusiastic and empowered about. So, very nice, very nice. Maybe even feeling passionate about. So, it doesn't look like our whole weekend is a bummer. Maybe Saturday with that argument or debate. But you know what? That doesn't have to cover all of Saturday. We're just looking at one idea per day. One little thing. All right, now let's look at the week. We're going to run through these cards really quickly and then we're going to talk about them. You start off with the Tower in reverse. The Tower in reverse is actually a good card, so don't anybody panic. We have Temperance showing up for Tuesday. We have the Ace of Cups showing up for Wednesday. And we have the Knight of Cups showing up for Thursday. Some sweetness in the middle of the week. And then we have the King of Wands in reverse. Okay. So, Geminis, let's start with Monday with this Tower in reverse. Now, this Tower in reverse tells me that in the past, something happened where you had a situation or a thing that made you feel stable and secure, and that got shook up. And whenever that got shook up, it might have thrown you off guard or off balance, kind of giving you a minute to get your breath back and get your feet back under you. When the tower shows up in reverse, no, though, now we're seeing that whatever this was that got shaken up before, you're finding something to replace that. And whatever is replacing that is actually better than what your situation was before the shakeup. So not only are you overcoming the shakeup, but you're actually thriving because of the shakeup. You're more than surviving, you're thriving. Okay. So, very good. Nice way to start the week. Some of you could be starting a job on Monday, but there's other things that could be as well. Tuesday is really interesting to me because as soon as I touched this card, when I was showing you just briefly, what I heard is Sagittarius, which this is the Sagittarius Major Arcana when we've got Temperance coming up. So obviously you're a Gemini. Maybe you have Sagittarius in your chart. I think you're interacting with somebody who has Sagittarius pretty strong in their chart. So let's look at what does this interaction actually have to do with? What is it about? It's interesting because what you have coming up here is the lilies and the scythe. And the scythe, what's really calling to me is the wheat in the background. And I'm thinking harvest as I look at this. And of course, this used to be how people would harvest things is with the scythe. And the lilies talk about something that's ongoing or something that's long term. And so for this Sagittarius card, I think that the interaction that you're having with Sagittarius on Tuesday has to do with this idea of creating some kind of ongoing or long-term income. This could be something that's residual income or some other way to have some long-term or some ongoing income. So I think you're having a conversation about that with somebody on Tuesday, and that person's going to have Sagittarius strong in their chart. Sometimes what actually shows up on the table is a rising sign. So if the person doesn't know their rising sign, or if you don't know their rising sign, you may not necessarily know if they have Sagittarius strong in their chart. So I'm glad we checked to see what you're going to be talking about. Let's look at Wednesday. Ace of Cups just means that you found something new that you really enjoy, you're fascinated by, you're drawn into, you want to understand it better, you want to spend more time participating with this thing or participating with this person. This can be a recreational activity, this can be a project, this can be a person, but something that you're being really drawn into and really fascinated by. Thursday. Knight of Cups, I think you're going to be taking some kind of romantic action. Now, for a few of you, this is going to be about, I'm pampering myself a little bit and not, having a romantic action with anybody else, just feeling pampered and kind of babying myself, that type of thing. But for a lot of you, I feel like this is some type of romantic action that you're taking on Thursday. So, that can come out as going on an anniversary dinner or having a date night or anything really that falls into that romantic category. Very sweet, very sweet. And like I said, if this is not doing something romantic with somebody else, then this is doing something that makes yourself feel pampered. You're taking good care of you. All right, let's look at Friday. Friday, we have the King of Wands showing up in reverse. Gemini, this is probably not my favorite character. King of Wands is somebody who has a lot of energy, a lot of passion, a lot of enthusiasm. When he's in reverse, he's not feeling very happy. So, passionately unhappy, enthusiastically unhappy. And so, this can be somebody that you're interacting with on Friday who has something going on that's not making them very happy. Sometimes I see this card as somebody who's feeling blue, and I don't see it as that much of an active card. For whatever reason, in your case, for your particular reading this week, Gemini, I feel like this is somebody who is enthusiastically unhappy. And so if this is somebody that could create a dangerous situation, then obviously you want to stay away from that situation, especially if you kind of know who I'm alluding to here in your particular life. Friday is definitely not a good day to be around that person. I don't know that I feel like mortal danger here, but just more unpleasantness that may cross over into, um, could potentially cross over into abusiveness. Now, I hope not. And for most of you, that won't be true. But for those of you who know somebody who can go into this dark side here, just keep in mind Friday's not the day to be hanging out with this person. Okay? And those of you who know somebody like this, you already know that you know somebody like this. I'm not surprising you. Anybody who's like, oh my gosh, who could that be? I am not talking to you. This person, in your case, is going to be much more toned down. They're going to be enthusiastically unhappy, but not at an abusive level. Okay. So, yeah, just a little bit of a heads up there. And that's why we have these ahead of time so that we can be prepared and have backup plans and make sure that we avoid things that we would rather not see in our spreads. So, anyway, that's what we have today. Thank you guys very much for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. If I don't see you here for a Reiki session, a reading, a mentoring session, or anything else like that this week, then I will see you guys back on the next video. Peace out.